All right, there we go. Excellent. So now I'm going to go ahead and reshare my screen. Welcome back, guys. Almost forgot one of the most important things, so that those who couldn't attend this live will actually get the recording as well as you will. So again, this is my goal. The day is to talk about all these things and then of course open it up for Q&A at the end. We still got some people joining us, so welcome, welcome if you just arrived. So how many of you guys can relate to this woman right here? I know I can. Mom, why are you hiding in the laundry room? I'm working, I have a deadline, but we're hungry. Have your dad fix lunch. Dad's in the bathroom on a conference call. Okay, eat some candy. We're bored. We want to go back to school, and I want to go back to my office. You know, Mom, I wet my bed. Do I have the virus? So a lot of these things have happened, and how are you navigating this new normal? Were you able to pivot with excellence? You know, we are heading into a time where it's unknown. A lot of people I talk to, I've heard different things, 2021, 2022. I even heard someone say 2024 is going to be the end of the recession. And I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not an economist. I cannot predict those kind of things. And all I know is that there's a lot of people who are now starting new businesses, or they're creating multiple streams of income. They're trying to navigate this new normal, and I want to help you guys today. So a little bit about my story for those of you who have never met me. I was actually very, very successful in sales right out of the gate. Like a lot of us, I was more of the old school face-to-face, belly-to-belly, 3-foot rule. I even did cold calling, believe it or not, and door knocking back in the day. I know we have some people from here, from Phoenix. I sold real estate. I even did door knocking in the middle of summer. I called on for sale by owners. I was fearless. As long as I knew I could get in front of a person, I really believed that I could close them and close the deal and help a lot of people. But in 2006, as most of you probably know, maybe it didn't impact your state or country as hard as it did in Phoenix. I had just opened up a mortgage company. I had multiple real estate investment properties along with other partners. And then I had a sales team and a beautiful, huge brick and mortar office that I was so, so excited and so proud. And then it was like the faucet turned off. And I not only lost one company, I lost two, I lost three. I was lucky to sell my primary residence to have a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, I couldn't pay my bills. I ended up having my car repossessed, and I was shelter in place. I was an Ironman triathlete, so at least I had a bicycle, but I didn't want to go biking around and meeting with people. It was very traumatic. It negatively impacted my mindset. And it took me a while to overcome that. And if it hadn't been for coaches, if it hadn't been for mentors, if it hadn't been for my ability to pivot and learn how to sell virtually, I don't know where I would be to this day. So if you know someone who's in that space right now, I can totally relate, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, actually raised a family through that process. And how did I do it? I had a mentor named Eric Lofholm. He's one of the #1 sales trainers in the world. Yes, that's me. My baby photo, I love it because it was like, it predicted my future because I love making phone calls. I made a lot of phone calls. I had a lot of success, and I was fortunate to be raised on a farm. Like one of my mentors, Jim Rohn, who is an Idaho farm boy. I'm an Iowa farm girl, so I understood the value of hard work. But then, as I became a mom, as he became a wife, things got crazy. I was juggling all these balls. And again, I don't know if anybody can relate to this, but it was overwhelming trying to be a good mom, a good wife. I was also involved as a BNI director. Some of you guys are from BNI. And I was really, really lost in my journey of how to keep it all together, how to get my time blocking, how to take time for myself. I was starting to feel like a lot of people are right now. I was a hamster on a wheel working from sun up till sundown. And then I read this book by Brian Moran, The 12-Week Year. If anybody's read it, feel free to comment in the chat. If you haven't, this is one of my first gifts and action items for you today. Go get this book. This book really radically decluttered my brain, focused my mind, got me clear on my vision. We're going to talk about that today. Gave me an action plan like I'm going to help give you today. And I got more done in the next 6 months, or as Brian would say, the next 2 12-week years back to back than I had gotten done in the previous 6. And so I got so passionate about it, I got certified, and that's a lot of the tools and the tips that I'm giving you today, plus of course my own tools that I have created. And over the last 6 years, and really 5 years since reading that book, my husband and I have been able to travel, live laptop lifestyles. We moved to the home of our dreams here in Southern California, and we've been able to really truly live and have meaning in our life. If you've ever read the book by Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, it's really not about the money, right, guys? It's about being who you really were truly born to be and enjoying this world. I call it the world that is an abundant playground, whatever that means for you. And I want to talk about what that means for you today. So the number one thing that I did, and again, please take notes, save your questions for the end. I'm gonna turn the fire hose on you guys right now. I'm gonna go through this as quickly as we can. And my goal is, again, for you to have some action items for you to take away. So my first thing that I had to learn after losing everything, being homeless, going through bankruptcy, foreclosure, becoming a mom, going through postpartum depression, having my own version of shelter in place long before this pandemic, I had to build my mindset daily. There's a lot of distractions, right? There's a lot of noise. And yet it's those first few minutes and few hours of every morning. What do you do to fuel your mind? Zig Ziglar called it a checkup from the neck up. Do you hit the ground running and grab your phone first thing? Do you have your phone on do not disturb mode like I do? And I wake up and I actually have, first of all, my alarm is something really positive. And I wake up with a good, not jolt awake, but kind of more of a calming, peaceful alarm. And I right away say, thank you for another day. I got my affirmations. I actually have a document I'm going to share with you guys as a gift for being here today. I actually have a document, I call it my daily compass, and I write out my thoughts for the day on paper before I do anything else, before I check the Facebook, before I check the text messages, before I check the email. If you do nothing else from what I shared with you today and just focus on that one thing for the next rest of the month, you'd be surprised at how this might shift your consciousness and your ability to manifest better things. We're going to talk more about that. Louise Hay wrote a good book also, You Can Heal Your Life. I found that book during the Great Recession, and it changed my thinking. Thoughts are things, and things can be changed. You can change your thoughts, and starting every day, just like a good breakfast, just like a drink of water, just like deep breathing, you can shift what's going on in you emotionally and mentally through that. One of the things that I love to remind people too is why that's so successful and why all the greatest, Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, why they all talk about mindset. And I know you're probably like, yeah, Lois, I've heard this 5,000 times. I have to start there, not just because that's part of my training, it's part of my experience. Whatever you think about, you bring about. So if you choose a mindset of attitude of gratitude every morning in spite of what's going on, and it's okay to be angry, it's okay to get those emotions out, but don't stay there. Whatever you can do to send out good, it'll come back to you. Part of the 12-week year principles, and this may be another step for you if you haven't done this already, is have you written out your vision? When I read the 12-week year first, and even before that, when I did my first Ironman triathlon, or when I set some serious big, hairy, audacious goals, I had to visualize where I wanted to go and how I was going to get there, of course, is the next step. So have you written out a clear vision? That's one of the tenets of the 12-week year principles. And what I mean by vision is, what is it that you want to create? What is your purpose? Simon Sinek would say, what is your why? So one of the things that I want you to do is look at your vision in this way. I heard this from a professor in college, and the place God calls you, or the universe, or whatever you want to call it, to is the place where your deep gladness and the world's deep hunger meet. You matter. You have greatness inside of you. You have a purpose. You're still breathing. You're still here. You know, part of during this journey 6 months ago today, my brother dropped dead unexpectedly, and his vision ended that day. You don't know when you'll take your last breath, and you don't know what tomorrow will bring. Although I do believe you can know if you write it down and you visualize it. So what do you want? Where do you see yourself 1 year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, or 10 years from now? I have my clients write this out, and because I've done it and it's worked for me. I had a vision 4 years ago to move back to Southern California. People thought I was crazy. They're like, Lois, it's so expensive. Oh my gosh, the traffic, all the negativity, right? People were projecting upon me. And if I didn't have clarity of purpose and vision, guess what? I wouldn't be living in my dream home with no traffic or issues because I work from home, right? I don't have any concerns. I've fulfilled my dream because I said every day for 3 years, I am so happy and grateful. I am living in my dream home in Southern California with my family. And, you know, I have my own global business, and all the things that I said in that vision 3 years ago, guys, has manifested to this day and then some. I wanted to start a podcast. Guess what? I started a podcast this year. I wanted to be able to have freedom to travel and move about and have clients all over the world. Guess what? I have that. So what do you want? I want you to take out, if you don't already have your notebook, if you're just joining us, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Congratulations for investing in yourself. I want you to pick one. It could be this month. Some people I have found have forgotten how to dream, and they're just taking one day at a time, and that's okay. I was there for 3 years during the Great Recession. I was so chronically depressed. I could only focus on today. And sometimes that's even better because living in the present is important. You don't want to be thinking about the past and what didn't happen, how those relationships didn't pan out, or the income you wanted didn't work. And some people kind of worry and have anxiety about the future. So if you just want to take today or this month, that's a great place to start. But if you can also, maybe what would you like to have by the end of 2020? Maybe an income goal, maybe a client goal, maybe a health goal. I actually started my podcast, and I'm surprised. It's not meant to be a health podcast, but 50% of the people, they're looking for more health guidance and support. So if you have a health and wellness business, that's a good place to be right now. So pick one, December 31st, 2020, or 1 year from now. Today is August 11th, 2020. So put August 11, 2021, 2023. Just pick one, okay? Write it down and say, I am so happy and grateful. I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to write. What do you want to accomplish? I am so happy and grateful. I live in a new home, or I'm traveling to Europe, or what do you want? What do you really want? And again, this is still, we're on step number 1 of my 4 secrets to success. And I am just seeing, awesome, love it. Great. Just seeing some of your posts. Your 1,000th Zoom, that's great, Linda. Still early, go for 1,001, all right. So this is just the teaser, guys. This is just the start. I have a lot more to cover today, so we're gonna keep moving. But can you write this out every day? My goal for you is, in summary, for this one step is build your belief first thing every day, write out your vision twice a day. If that's too much, just once. Remember those first 5 minutes in the morning, and even that first hour, have your own morning routine. And part of that, I recorded my vision on my phone and I listen to it every morning, no matter what. So even if I don't feel like writing it out, I can listen to it. Number 2, in part of the pivot, and this isn't written in the 12-week year. This is my own understanding of what's happened. You know, I was very, I'm going to say fortunate to have been homeless and went through bankruptcy and foreclosure, I was forced to learn how to sell on the World Wide Web. I did my first teleseminar in 2007. I started doing all those things before Facebook existed. I don't remember the year LinkedIn started, but I did webinars and virtual selling before it was really a thing, because I had to. Now everyone is in that position. Everyone is online. So where are you online? And I'm going to teach you some tricks about that, because there's a lot of people I see doing it wrong. I'm just going to say that. And there is a skill set and a muscle to learn on how to do it the most excellent way possible. I always want people to strive for excellence. Perfection may not be quite of the right answer, but I also call it imperfect action. Figuring it out, just doing it anyway, and learning. How do you connect with your audience? Let's put a plan together. Let's talk about that. So back in 2007, I started doing teleseminars and I recorded them, just like I'm recording this right now. This is something that I can repurpose and sell later if I wanted. That teleseminar turned into a monthly program, so I monetized it that way. It was a monthly coaching teleseminar program. Then I turned it into an online college course for MBA students, so I monetized that for about 6 or 7 years. And now I still sell that course. So you see how you build it once, monetize it forever. So what can you do starting today? And maybe you're not even thinking of monetization of it yet, and that's okay. Everybody's at a different level here. But how are you building your audience? Do you have a YouTube channel? Do you have a Facebook group or fan page? Do you use webinars like this? I love StreamYard. Do you blog? Do you have an ebook? I know Linda West is on here. I'm helping her. She's helping me. She's publishing a book compilation. So if anybody here wants to get inside of her book compilation, reach out to me, or if you can find her on here, we can help you. You create it once, you sell it, and it's there forever. So you leave a legacy. There's affiliate programs people can sign up for. The beginning of the year before COVID, I was looking for new affiliate programs to have more streams of income. And guess what? I found 3, and they're paying me really well. I started a podcast. That's huge right now. It's actually bigger than publishing online in a standpoint of a blog or even an ebook or a book, because a lot of people are tired of screen time. They just want to listen. They just want to hear and be inspired. They maybe don't even want to attend another webinar, right? LinkedIn, Instagram. Do you have a landing page where you're bringing people into your funnel? And I'm not talking about a website. I'm talking about a landing page that can bring people into your funnel that is your lead generation tool. I'm a guru of lead generation. I love talking lead generation. I'm going to keep moving because I could stay on this page for too long. My podcast testimonial turned into a lead generation component that I wasn't expecting. People from all over the world were turning in to my podcast, and now I'm getting people reaching out to me saying they want to work with me, they want to learn more about my coaching. They've been giving me offers and other opportunities, again, because I decided, even though I was terrified, admittedly, and maybe you are too, maybe you're scared, but put something down. If it scares you, that's probably a good thing, because by going through this process and being terrified and doing it anyway, now my confidence up, my posture is up, and people are coming out of the woodwork, because that's really the best way to lead generate, is to be your highest and best version of yourself and taking risks. People don't want to see a perfect person. They want to know that you're normal just like them. And I've made a lot of mistakes in my podcast journey. It's not been perfect, but that makes me more relatable. So in summary, do you have a landing page? Can you afford to hire a social media person or a website person, SEO person? Do you have a CRM that doesn't frustrate you? I'm going to talk to you about CRM is a client relationship manager. It's a lead database. All of these tools, even though it might sound like a lot of work right now, I just want you to pick one of these systems: YouTube channel, podcast, ebook, blog. Don't do it all, folks, because then you won't do anything well. And just focus on that. That helps you build, like that course that I built back in 2007, I'm still monetizing today. So building for the future being recession proof. And then of course asking yourself, if I wanted to do one of those other things, like a LinkedIn page or a Facebook fan page or whatever, could I hire a virtual assistant and outsource it so that I can spend more time with my family? Remember, I'm not wanting you to be workaholics. I'm wanting you to design a life and find skills and tools to do that. CRM, what do you use for that? I've been actually shocked. I added this into my presentations now because most people either don't know what it is, don't have one. What that means is they're usually using Excel documents to keep track of their contacts, business card binders, Post-it notes, spiral notebooks. I've heard that one, note cards, you know, old school Rolodex. What happens if you lose those things? Facebook is not a CRM. LinkedIn is not a CRM. You got to get people off of those platforms and into your funnel so that you can drip on them. You are the person that they're wanting to connect with anyway. When they're on Facebook, they're distracted. When they're on LinkedIn, there's even a lot of noise. And a lot of people don't know how to close and convert on Facebook or LinkedIn, and that's not really where you want to close them anyway. You want to bring them into your funnel. So do you have a CRM, client relationship manager, also known as leads database, that reminds you when to call someone, reminds you when to do an appointment setting? It basically also could have landing pages. I don't think MailChimp has that. I'm not sure about Constant Contact. HubSpot is one. I have one that I refer out to people. And again, you can have help and have a CRM support system if you have a virtual assistant. Find one that's as simple as possible. Just have one. That's the bottom line. And if you have it once, it stays with you forever. And that's a really important thing. So again, I've got a lot going on. I want to get to the Q&A, so we have time for that. First and foremost, you know, I just gave you a tip on, you know, build an online audience, because that's where everyone is, right? If you're not online, if you don't have a digital footprint and you don't know how to effectively bring them into your funnel, you're leaving money on the table. But then you have leads. Now what are you going to do? You got to have a strategy. You got to have a focus. And that's where the 12-week year, bringing that up again, it talks about your daily and your weekly and your monthly tactics. And you got to have your numbers. You got to know your numbers to grow your numbers. So how many leads a day do you need to talk to or bring into your funnel? How many sales? I just taught this in my online coaching class yesterday, you know, breaking it down. Let's say you wanted to make $5,000 this month. How many sales, reverse engineer, do you need to make that $5,000? What is your average sales price? How many no's, right? Go for No, great book. Yeah, I know it's a shocker. People say no to me. They're going to say no to you. It's really not a no. It's just they don't understand the value that you're giving them yet. It's not time for them yet. They oftentimes have to hear your message 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times before they're really ready. How many appointments do you need to convert to the sales to get to the income that you want? And then every day the fortune is in the follow-up. And that can be in a variety of ways. That can be email campaigns, that can be in text, message, WhatsApp, phone calls. I still love phone calls, but I'll be honest, right now with the kids home and everything, I had to kick my husband and kids out of the house right now to do this webinar. That doesn't always work, right? So I got to find effective systems to do my follow-up. Do you have a daily lead generation plan? Now, every sale process starts with what I teach people is called the sales mountain. This isn't a 12-week year principle. This came from my mentors. You know, you have the lead generation. You got to set those appointments. You're building trust and rapport. How are you doing that right now? How are you setting up an opportunity to learn and sort through your customers' needs right now? How are you then also conveying the benefits of what you do and you share? And then how are you closing? Virtual selling, it may have changed the game, but you still got to go through this exact same process without maybe shaking hands or meeting face to face. One quick reminder, because sometimes we get so in our head that we forget about this. I brought this up once, but I wanted to bring it up again. I have learned about the law of attraction and the attitude of gratitude. That's the number one thing to remember when it comes to lead generation. Even before you open up that computer, even before you get on that Zoom, right? You want to come from an authentic place. That's the most important tip that I want, again, to remind you of, because people will say, Lois, I talk to so many people, I send so many messages, and it's all about energy and what are you sharing and how are you coming across. So before you get into your lead generation plan, always start from that place of gratitude. If you just had an argument with your spouse because they left the toilet seat up again for the 50th time during COVID, and you're like wanting to pull your hair out, or if your kids just, you know, vomited on your computer, whatever's going on, right? Life is happening, or your dog, you know, whatever. You want to make sure that you come from a grounded place of love and kindness. At least that's the way I feel, and know that I have attracted some of the most amazing customers in my life. In fact, if you ever have someone that's a customer that's really cranky and negative, I would encourage you to maybe just look in the mirror and go back to when you first met that person. What place were you coming from? There might be an answer for you, and you may want to have that checkup from the neck up. So in summary, know your numbers to grow your numbers. How do you track your numbers? I want to show really quickly. I'm going to stop my share and pull up this slide. I'm going to show you my daily tracking sheet. And later here in the next 10 to 15 minutes, I am going to share with you a great resource that I will give and offer to you guys. And if anyone signs up for that, they'll get this prospecting sheet as part of that. But every day I track my numbers. I've been doing this, guys, for 20 years. And not all of these things maybe apply to you in your industry. Okay, I want to say that. And I can help you personalize it for your industry if you're in my coaching program, but you got to have a daily plan. And you got to track it. Now, some people are very sophisticated and tech savvy, and they can put their numbers into their CRM, their client relationship leads database. Remember, again, if you don't know what that is, that's what that is. And they can do that in real time. I get distracted. Kids, maybe you have a pet, maybe you have whatever going on in your life, and you can't get all your prospecting done in just like that 1 hour. Like, I encourage people to pick 1 hour a day that you just power through and crank out the phone calls, the emails, the whatever. But that doesn't always work, and it's really good to track. So I encourage my clients to print this out, have access to this, track who they talk to, take notes on the conversations, and then put it into their CRM later. It also helps you write down your weekly goals. It helps you track how many people you talk to. Got one more person coming in. All right, I love it. And again, it also breaks down if you're into email campaigns, if you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, you can compartmentalize. Because here's the thing, guys, if you're on Facebook, you're on Twitter, you're on the Instagram, you're on LinkedIn, and you're throwing spaghetti at the wall and not knowing what's sticking, you know, are your posts generating interest? Are you following up with those people? Or is it just more of a social space? Is it making you money? I would ask you, is it worth your time? The average person probably spends 2 to 3 hours on Facebook. If you did an hourly rate, like I charge $500 an hour for one-on-one coaching. It's much less for my group coaching programs. If I spent 3 hours on Facebook just playing around, I just wasted $1,500 potentially. I don't do that because I have these systems in place and create leverage, and I measure and track. And if I don't like the numbers, I get up the next day or the next week and I course correct. So that's one action item for you, is start tracking your time and your energy and your efforts on all of these platforms. And are you getting results? That's the most important thing. I've helped clients with their email campaign conversions, phone call conversions. How many touches does it take to close the deal, and then getting better over time. And again, you can't do that if you don't know your numbers and you don't track this stuff. All right, let me go back to my slides. All right, We're in the home stretch, guys. All right, if you're doing good, just comment how you're doing. I appreciate you. I'm excited to wrap this up here shortly. We got some really powerful stuff. One other thing, and I'm going to talk about step number 4 is going to dive into the time management piece, but I'm just going to say right here, time block and guard your prospecting time. So what that looks like is there an hour every day, or maybe it's 2 hours that you spend and carve out where you're free from distraction and you are just outbound phone calls, you're doing all the deals, and you block it and nothing can get in its way. I always did that 9 or 10 in the morning. That way, if all hell broke loose in the afternoon and I was putting out fires or my kid got sick, came home from school, whatever the case may be, I made sure that I guarded that time. I had mentors that taught me, and I teach this to my clients, don't go to bed without your lead generation done. And that means if it's 10 p.m. and you skipped your time block for lead gen, guess what? You got to find those leads online. And it is a lot easier to do that now than it was a year ago. But guard it like it's the holy grail, and you can't not do it. Part of your lead generation is to remember this. I mentioned this, but I wanted to give a visual so you guys also saw it and heard it. You know, different people are different learners. 80% of the sales are made on the 5th to 12th contact. So how are you creating value for people? And when I say contact, I'm not talking about a LinkedIn post. That's not truly measurable. One-on-one connection. And I'm going to show you how I do that and how it has worked time and time again, no matter what industry I've been. Because if you have leads, you got to have a follow-up plan. As Jim Rohn said, you must get good at one of two things, planning in the spring or begging in the fall. What he means by that is you're not creating that harvest, right? So I created a plan that I started in real estate, and I've used in every industry that I've been in since my 20s. And it worked across all boards. That's how I know this works. My clients come from all different backgrounds and different types of sales and businesses. So you want to have, and I call this my Koffi sales formula. Again, this is a combination of 12-week year principles and Koffi sales formula. You don't have time to waste. Sometimes you feel like you're a hamster on the wheel because you're making phone calls to the same person over and over again, or you're messaging them on LinkedIn or Facebook, and you're getting nowhere. This is where if you have a plan that you can duplicate for every prospect, every lead that comes into your funnel or your CRM, you know how to touch them. It's predictable. You do a phone call, you do an email, you send them an item of value in the mail or over LinkedIn or however you do you. You set up a meeting, you set up a needs analysis, you give them your sales presentation, you invite them to a webinar or a podcast or a live stream on Facebook. That's really popular inside of Facebook groups. Either way, it's strategic. You're getting them up that sales mountain and closer to that yes. And again, remember, if 80% of the sales happen on the 5th to 12th contact, you've got 8 here. And I encourage you to do these 8 touches in 4-8 weeks, compressing those time frames. And no matter what, even if they don't buy from you, this is my favorite golden nugget. It's okay. Some will, somewhat, so what next, right? But it's even deeper than that. At a spiritual level, you want to be the guy or gal that gets them stuff. You want to be their gatekeeper or their gateway to information. You want to be their #1 champion for your industry, whether it's health and wellness, whether it's business services, whether it's marketing, whether it's being a virtual assistant, whether it's being an author, publishing books. You want them to know you as the expert. So when they are ready, and again, you put them in your email campaign or your newsletter, in your CRM, not just on Facebook or LinkedIn. Remember, I'm really passionate about this because I had this happen to a client. Their Facebook account got shut down. I had another client that got locked out of LinkedIn and they don't even know what they did. And they lost all of their contacts and all of their leads. They didn't even have email addresses and phone numbers. So you don't want to rely on those forums. But anyway, you get them into here and they know you as the best whatever you do. I like to be known as the best salesperson. So one of the things you can do and we're getting closer to the end, is you can do, I would encourage you as an action item from today. Remember, if you want, here, take a screenshot of this. Right now you have my permission to do that. And anybody that attends that wants my PowerPoint slides, don't hesitate. You're going to get the recording, but don't hesitate to shoot me an email reminder. Not right now. Don't tell me now because I won't see it, but I will email you these PowerPoint slides. So your homework, your action item from today, or I can work with you on this as well, is to create your own action plan completing over the next 4 to 8 weeks. How and when will you touch that prospect or that lead inside of your funnel, inside of your CRM, to give them value and to get them to say, yes, I want your stuff. Or I'm going to refer everyone to you because you've been the utmost professional. The nice thing about this, guys, is it saves you time and makes you more money. My passion is I don't want anybody here to be working 24/7. I want you to live the life of your dreams, travel. You know, like I say, I was going to take 12 weeks off this year, and it was supposed to be a 3-month period, and we were going to travel the world, but COVID changed that. So now I'm taking 1 week off a month instead of a direct 3 months. Do you want to do something like that? This will help you get closer to that. All right, last success tip before I share with you my amazing resource and then open up for Q&A. Are you a master steward of your time and energy? All of you do. If you don't recognize it, you all have great value and you were worth a lot of money. And yet a lot of people spend their time as if they have $1 million and they're just rolling dice in Vegas, right? And there are people who will say to me, Lois, how do you get so much done? And they think I work 24/7, but I don't. I have systems in place and I'm a master steward of my time and I take care and guard my energy. The 12-week year talks about structure, and structuring your days and your hours is something that Zig Ziglar and all the greats from the very, very beginning of sales trainers out there, they all talk about when do you start your week? When it's finished on paper. So I'm going to share with you a tool that I use. It's called the Daily Compass. And I share this with all of my clients. This one I will give away for free to anybody who asks, but being able to start your day on paper, this is what I do as part of my morning ritual. You could do it the night before you go to bed. Take 20 minutes, free from distraction. Again, you haven't checked Facebook, you haven't checked email. You're really grounded in you and what you need to do to fuel your mind and your body and your spirit. You write down what you're committed to. You can write your vision at this time. Remember, I talked about that at the beginning of the call. What are your focuses for the day? You can't be a jack of all trades and try to get it all the things done in one day, but you can focus on 2 things, 2 personal things, 2 professional things. How are you going to take care of yourself mentally, physically, and spiritually? I do coach on that. That's why my podcast is Healthy and Wealthy and Wise, because it's not worth it to make all the money and lose your health. I did that before. I wouldn't recommend it. And then, of course, at the end of writing down your day, you visualize the perfect day getting done. Then you ask yourself these questions. What worked throughout the day? What was the best part of that day? Again, sending out gratitude and positivity to the universe. And then without emotion, logically say, you know, what didn't work? What distracted me today? Was it Facebook? Was it LinkedIn? Was it, you know, my own fear was getting in my own way? So I found an avoidance mechanism so that I didn't have to make those phone calls and I skipped my lead generation time. Whatever it is, I always also like to say, you know, did I show up with greatness? Was I kind? If you can read that slide. And making sure that, again, it all comes back to, am I making a difference in the world today? And that was something that it took me a lot of work after the recession when I lost everything to show up that way, but it was worth it because today I have the life of my dreams and I'm able to help others do the same instead of staying in that space of negativity and always going to bed with that last thought of showing up with greatness, showing up with kindness. So going back to my slides, So planning your week, working your plan, getting it on paper, and then even structuring it in such a way. Inside of the 12-week year, they have what they call the model work week. And I don't have that pulled up right this second. If someone wants to see an example I just had there as a reminder, I'll bring that out and show that to you. But for sake of time, I wanted to close with some time and energy hacks and ideas that are really near and dear to my heart. You know, part of my journey was, you know, as a child growing up, I had family members who were very, very focused on work, and just go. And I did that for a while, and I found that for me, it didn't work. So I wanted to find ways to really be my best self, manage my energy and my time. One of the ways I did that, and I know a lot of you already have this, is getting a scheduling link. If you don't have that, please go ahead and get a scheduling link. Acuity, I know that there's Calendly. I think we have someone who's just joining us, and I hear some background noise. Hold on a second. Okay. So if you have a favorite scheduling link and I haven't said it, go ahead and put it in the comments. Turning off notifications on your phone, all notifications. And I know some of you are like, wait a minute. I need to know when I get those Facebook messages. I need to know when I get my emails. I need to know when I get my WhatsApp. And guess what? You don't. There's no such thing as an emergency. And if it really was an emergency, they could also call. But I have all of my notifications turned off as part of a healthy boundary. I found myself getting anxiety attacks and actually got into panic attacks because I had notifications going off in all of these different apps. And I actually finally woke up to the fact that, hey, maybe I could turn those off and schedule alarms to go and check those things. And then because of the 12-week year, I started checking my email twice a day instead of obsessing about it every hour on the hour, and turned off the notifications. Another time hack, and people don't always recognize it as such, but writing your vision every day, guys, keeps you moving the needle forward, keeps you passionate about life. You'll say no more to the things that don't fit into your vision and say yes to your vision and your truth, and not volunteering for every little thing or showing up to every Zoom, although I'm really grateful you took the time to be here today. And then, of course, I'm going to say have an accountability partner or a coach. I actually needed 3 coaches to help me move through my fear and to help me get all of the stuff figured out, to help me have a roadmap and a blueprint for my future. Because left to my own devices as a salesperson and entrepreneur who was easily distracted by shiny objects, I couldn't be where I am today, guys, accomplishing all of my dreams and goals and living my best health without those coaches. So here's a couple of examples of testimonials of people that I've worked with as I close it out here. She has been in direct sales for 4 years. She had world-class leadership within her company, and yet she was lost. And with just 30 days of being in my coaching program, Mary was able to get the highest amount of sales and the highest amount of recruits for her business, because I do specialize in recruiting salespeople as well. She did that 1 month, what she hadn't done in those 4 years. This is Kathy from Minneapolis. I fortunately started coaching her before COVID. So when COVID hit, she had already been through one 12-week year. She had a plan. She was sharing that plan with her sales team, and she was able to execute her plan day after day, week after week, month after month. She graduated into my online coaching program and is doing really, really well. So what action will you take next? How will you focus your sales champion mindset? I want you to write that down. What is your plan? What are you going to do? How are you going to manage your model work week? Who will hold you accountable for your goals? Will you follow through with your vision daily? Will you execute your daily, weekly, monthly plan that you can find and read in the 12-week year? What are you going to have as your online attraction tool magnet into your CRM for your online lead generation plan every day? One thing I will encourage you to think about too is some people are motivated by pleasure. I'm more of a motivated by pain. I'm an Ironman triathlete. Hello. What will inaction cost you? Less time with your family, your friends. You might have burnout. You could have health challenges like I did. I ended up with an autoimmune disease because I didn't apply or have all these principles back in the day. Maybe you won't get to take vacation. Maybe you'll have income that you leave on the table or decreased income because you don't know how to navigate these online waters. Increased stress, getting another year older, but kind of stuck where you were 1 year ago. And you may feel like your dreams are more elusive, and you definitely deserve all that is there waiting for you. I love Les Brown. You know, he says, too many of us are not living our dreams because we are living our fears. And that was me. And I want to take you past that, or people that you know that are struggling right now. I do have a thank you resource before I open it up for question and answer. I created a new program this past month because my coaches did this for me and really, really helped me over the past 3-4 years. Just like the 12-week year was just one tool, I needed my coaches to help me actually put that together. So I have what I call a business intensive roadmap that I will help write for you for the next 12 weeks, taking everything we talked about today, putting it on paper, one-on-one, mano-a-mano, doing a 25+ questionnaire deep dive survey for your business from soup to nuts, A to Z. I will do a lot of research, hours and hours. I'll study your competition. I'll study your funnels, your CRM, your landing pages, your Facebook presence, your LinkedIn presence, all of the things. Then after I've done all that copious note-taking research, we'll have a 2-hour deep dive game planning session to help you, give you the blueprint. Because today was a general overview, guys, but you need your own personalized plan because everyone's unique. Everyone has different passions, different goals. And then, of course, finish with giving you that recording, giving you a written report served up on a silver platter. I even have software that we can input it into that you can also have as a gift for being a part of my blueprint. So what I'm doing today, really for the first time giving a smoking deal, if you want a blueprint, all the things that I just shared with you, normally the price is $997, but today only for the next 24 hours, so 1 p.m. tomorrow, Pacific Standard Time, it'll go from $497 back up to $997. The first 5 people that sign up, could be today or within the next 24 hours, you're also going to win my 1-year online group coaching plan. If anybody here is already in that program, I'm going to upgrade you to a 2nd year if you're one of the first free people. And I actually misquoted that. It's actually valued at $1997, not $497. So again, deep dive on your prospecting, booking appointments, selling virtually, deep dive on how to use Zoom, go to webinar, deep dive on how to build that plan on social media, building that online audience, deep dive into how to publish content to build funnels, deep dive on how to become a master of your schedule, setting boundaries, and creating that work-life balance so you can enjoy this abundant playground that the world is presenting. So I'll post the link inside of this chat as well. Or Kathy, if you don't mind posting the link inside of this chat, I'd like to actually open it up. There's a few more things, that's right. I'd like to open it up for question and answer because I don't want to run out of time. Does anybody have any clarifying questions on anything I coached today? Anything I shared? It was a fire hose, and I did go a little bit over 45 minutes. Feel free to, you can take yourself off mute, or you can put it in the chat. And there's the link for what I just shared with you guys. I found it, Kathy, so you don't have to do it. Does anybody have any slides or anything that you want me to reshare? Okay, cool. Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you, Joseph. Okay, I'm going to share. And keep in mind, Latara, going over the 8x8 campaign, that's a whole one-on-one coaching conversation because everyone's going to be different. I just gave you guys an example you would need to personalize it for yourself. And I do believe you banked a free 30-minute coaching session with me, so we can go over that together. Oops, that's not what I wanted to share. Hold on one second. So if you took a screenshot, just remember this is just an example. So everyone will have to find the secret to their sauce. I called it number 4 is a coffee meeting or a needs analysis. For me, it's a webinar. For me, it's having someone listen to a podcast episode also that might be worth their time. For me, it's also a free 30-minute coaching session. This was just meant to be an example. And I guarantee you guys, if you can crush this, 6 figures are waiting for you. Unlimited possibilities are waiting for you. More sleep is waiting for you. And if you have a email campaign, if you have a good CRM that does that, this is automated. You can just automate this, and life is so sweet when you can do that. All right, I'm going to stop share.
I just wanted to say something quickly, that I've been Lois's assistant now for what, like 3 months? And one of the most fantastic things about being her assistant is that I get all this learning kind of on the sly, because all of the things that I'm doing for her, she's teaching me as I'm doing it, and you really don't realize how much you needed it until you have it. And what she's offering is really, really amazing, and I would really recommend it to anyone who's here today.
Yeah, normally I offered my 1-year coaching program, and I wanted to go above and beyond, because I find a lot of people, they really need that one-on-one. So normally I charge $500 for 1 hour of coaching. So obviously this is a massive gift that I would be honored to serve people on. Does anybody else have any other questions? Did I miss?
I was just going to ask. Hi, Lois.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi. I was going to just ask if you had recommendations, especially for people who are just getting started, about CRM tools that that could be used, and maybe I mean, eventually with the hope of transitioning to like a more sophisticated tool, but like something to get started anyway.
Oh, for sure. And I can maybe, I'll send you some messages on that, but really quickly, I know I've used 10 CRMs in the last 15 years. Okay. So that could be a conversation in just an hour with you offline, but MailChimp and Constant Contact, they're fine, but I'll be honest, I personally wouldn't waste my time with those because they're so remedial and they don't have all the stuff. So I'll send you a message on my referral for one that literally you won't have to be a serial dater of CRMs. It's called Now Site Marketing. So I'll send you information on that. But if someone wanted to do like the free offers of MailChimp or Constant Contact, it's an okay start, but big picture, you're going to need something much better as soon as possible. And I know HubSpot, they have a good one as well. Can be a great place to start for newer folks. That's a great question. And you know what? The funny thing is, I actually did a podcast on CRMs, and I've done over 40 podcasts now, and that's in the top 5. I'm actually doing a webinar later today just on CRMs at 4 p.m. Pacific, 6 Central. So if you want that information, shoot me a message, because that's a big decision. I always joke it's almost like getting married. You want to do your research and ask yourself, does it do all the things, or am I just settling, for something that I'm not going to like and need to change out a few times like I did? Yeah, HubSpot, exactly. Yeah, it can be. I would say of the 3 that I mentioned, HubSpot's got the best potential for you, Sarah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. Any other questions? I thank you guys for hanging out here. Anything else? All right. Well, I know you guys will get email follow-up. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach back out to me. And I just want to close with a story. Since we have so many people here, I want to share with you a story that is one of my favorites. And I don't know if you've ever heard about the mayonnaise jar and the coffee story. Comment if you've heard it. It's a really powerful reminder of what it is that I teach and what it is that I hope for you in bringing you the best health, the best wealth, and the best wisdom here. So here we go. The professor stood before his philosophy class and had some items in front of him. When the class began, wordlessly, he picked up a very large and empty mayonnaise jar and proceeded to fill it with golf balls. He then asked the students if the jar was full. They agreed that it was. The professor then picked up a box of pebbles and poured them into the jar. He shook the jar lightly. The pebbles rolled into the open areas between the golf balls. He then asked the students again if the jar was full. So you can kind of imagine this. They agreed that with the pebbles and the golf balls, it was full. But then the professor next picked up a box of sand and poured it into the jar. And of course, the sand filled up all the cracks and crevices. He asked once more if the jar was full, and the students responded with a unanimous yes. The professor then produced 2 cups of coffee from under the table and poured the entire cups into the jar, effectively filling the empty space, obviously dissolving it between the sand, and the students laughed. Now, said the professor, as the laughter subsided, I want you to recognize that this jar represents your life. The golf balls are the most important things. Your faith, your family, your children, your health, your friends, your passions, your reason for being. My friends from India call it your ikigai. Things that if everything else was lost and only they remained, your life would still be full. The pebbles are the other things that matter, like your job, your profession, your house, and your car. The sand is everything else, the small stuff. If you put the sand into the jar first, there is no room for the pebbles or golf balls. The same goes for life. If you spend all your time and energy on the small stuff, which is all the things that we talked about today, without having the right systems, you will never have enough room for the things that are important to you. Pay attention to the things that are critical to your happiness. Play with your children. Take time to get your health checkups. Take your partner out to dinner. Play another 18 holes of golf if you can do that right now. There will always be time to clean the house and fix the garbage disposal. Take care of the golf balls first, the things that really matter. Set your priorities. The rest is just sand. And then, of course, one of the students raised her hand and inquired, well, what is the coffee? What did that represent? The professor smiled and said, I'm glad you asked. It just goes to show you that no matter how full your life may seem, there's always room for a cup of coffee with a friend. So that's all I'd like to share with you guys today. All the best to you. And if you have any questions, you know how to reach me. Have a great day.